Gaza health officials say Israeli strikes on a tent camp outside the southern city of Rafah have killed at least 25 people and wounded another 50. Friday's strikes were the latest deadly attack on displaced people in Gaza, where hundreds of thousands have fled fighting between Israel and Hamas. Witnesses whose relatives died in one of the bombardments near a Red Cross field hospital say that Israeli forces fired a second volley, which killed people who came out of their tents. The International Committee of the Red Cross said the hospital was flooded with casualties, including 22 dead and 45 wounded. It condemned the firing of the Yar Allah's high-caliber projectiles a few yards from the facility. A relentless heat wave continues to bake most of the U.S., with numerous areas expected to see record-breaking temperatures. Forecasters were also warning there would likely be little relief through the weekend for most areas. The steamiest conditions on Friday were expected in parts of Ohio and Indiana, where heat indexes were expected to soar past 100 degrees Fahrenheit and remain there most of the day. But the Midwest was not the only area being baked, as heat warnings and advisories have been issued across the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, and in some western states. Idaho officials said Friday that 2 people in their 60s had died of heat-related causes. The head of the Homeland Security Department says the agency tasked with responding to disasters across the country is prepared as it goes into what is expected to be an intense hurricane and wildfire season. But Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas told the Associated Press that he's concerned about looming budget shortfalls. Mayorkas was visiting the headquarters of the Federal Emergency Management Agency on Friday for a briefing about the hurricane season, which started on June 1st. Experts think this year could be one of the busiest on record. As parts of the U.S. swelter, Mayorkas said extreme heat could qualify as a major disaster, but that local communities historically have been able to deal with major heat waves without needing federal financial assistance.
With little warning, thousands of people were forced to flee their homes as a pair of wildfires ballooned in a single afternoon. Traffic was bumper to bumper as residents tried to leave the mountain village of Ruidoso on Monday evening. Smoke obscured their view as they inched just a few miles in what seemed like an eternity. Residents are now scattered from Roswell and Alamogordo to Texas and beyond after a chaotic escape from the billowing smoke and flames. Rain and cooler temperatures are helping firefighters keep the flames in check. Top officials are expected to visit Saturday to survey some of the neighborhoods that were destroyed. President Joe Biden is beginning an intense period of private debate preparations at Camp David. The Democrats' trip comes as officials in both major political parties scramble to set expectations for what may be the most consequential presidential debate in decades. Biden's team notes he cannot afford an underwhelming performance against Donald Trump on June 27th in Atlanta. Trump's allies are pushing the Republican to stay focused on his governing plans, but expect him to be tested by pointed questions about his unrelenting focus on election fraud and his legal baggage. Strategists on both sides agree on one thing. Nearly 4 months before Election Day, the political stakes could not be higher. Arkansas State Police say a shooter opened fire Friday at a grocery store, killing 3 people and wounding 10 others. The shooting at the Mad Butcher grocery store in Fordyce has left the store and parked cars riddled with bullet holes. Bystanders ducked for cover both indoors and in the grocery's parking lot. State Police Director Co. Mike Hagar, says police shot the suspected shooter, who sustained injuries that were not life-threatening. 2 law enforcement officers were among those shot, and neither have life-threatening injuries. Police identified the shooter as 44-year-old Travis Eugene Posey of New Edinburgh.
This has been Dunkley Now.